Inching closer to a possible confrontation on the Korean Peninsula, North Korea reportedly holding a massive live fire exercise as a U.S. Navy nuclear submarine arrives in South Korea. The Trump administration set to update the full Senate at the White House. My next guest will be at that briefing and says he would support a preemptive strike on North Korea if necessary. Senator Lindsey Graham sits on the Senate Armed Services Committee and many others. Joins us now. Good to see you this morning, Senator.
Good morning.
Okay, so parse that out for us. A preemptive strike. I know that you've said we should do whatever we have to obliterate the North's ability to come after us. Would that mean us taking military action first?
As a last resort. I don't know about you, but here's what I believe. I believe if they had an ICBM with a nuclear weapon on top of it that could reach America, they may use it. What do you think? Do you think that's possible, that this guy would actually attack our country if he could?
Well, you and Secretary Kelly are the ones I've heard in the last few days say you do think that's possible before the end of Donald Trump's first term as president.
I do. So if you believe, as I do, in General Kelly, that it would be a mistake to allow him to have an ICBM that could reach America, there's two ways to stop it. Through diplomacy, using China to get them to stop developing the ICBM, or to use military force. I prefer diplomacy. But here, I had dinner with the president last night. It was a great dinner. I really am impressed with his commander-in-chief skills here. He is not going to let this nut job in North Korea develop a missile with a nuclear weapon on top to hit America. He doesn't want a war any more than I do, but he's not going to let them get a missile. That's where they're headed, and China needs to up their game to stop this before it's too late. All
right, so the full Senate goes for a briefing at the White House tomorrow. Do you think they'll be surprised to learn anything that maybe you had a conversation about last night? What kind of updates do you think they'll get? Because, I mean, all the big names are going to be in that room with you guys.
We met with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs last night at dinner with Senator McCain, myself, and the president. It was a terrific dinner. I think President Trump's relationship with China is the key. China's done more in the last 2 weeks to push back against North Korea, stopping coal shipments, even maybe using the UN to sanction North Korea than they've done in the last 25 years. So it's clear to me that this president will not allow North Korea to develop an ICBM with a nuclear weapon on top to hit America. And I think the senators are going to hear that tomorrow night. And I hope the senators will understand that if nothing changes, Kim Jong-il will have that capability relatively soon.
Okay, you and Senator McCain at that dinner last night, you've both been vociferous critics of the president during the campaign, and some of that spilled over into his actual post-inaugural activity as the president. I understand you had peach cobbler last night.
Awesome.
Everybody hugged it out. How is the relationship? Because, listen, Senator McCain's continued to be very critical of this president and how he's handled a few things. What was the mood last night?
It was really good. We talked about rebuilding the military. It was music to my ears to hear President Trump talk about, I'm going to give the military what they need and let them do their job. He told a story about having to approve helicopters going to Syria, setting up a forward operating base in a town in Syria. He says, listen, General Mattis, do you trust these young men and women who are on the ground? He says, yes. Are they experts at what they do? He said, yes. Well, give them the ability to do their job. And he's going to rebuild the military. We're going to have a bigger Navy, a bigger Army, a bigger Air Force, and we're going to use it wisely, and we're going to unleash the American military against ISIL with a no-holds-barred approach. It is music to my ears. And if you're North Korea and you're betting that Donald Trump is all talk and no action, you're making a serious mistake.
All right, I want to talk about Russia because there are a couple of developments here. We're hearing the Senate Judiciary Committee, you're a member of that. There's going to be a hearing next on May 8th, and it's going to involve former Acting Attorney General Sally Yates, former DNI James Clapper, and it's all about Russia's potential interference in the 2016 U.S. election. What questions do you have? What information do you expect to get?
Well, number one, what's going on? I believe Russia did interfere. I don't think they changed the outcome. But Clapper said about a month ago, or maybe 2 months ago now, that no FISA warrants were issued against any Trump operatives. The Washington Post reports that a FISA warrant was issued against Carter Page. Here's my question. Did you know about that warrant? Did you not consider Carter Page an operative of the Trump campaign? Maybe they didn't consider Carter Page an operative of the Trump campaign because he really didn't have much of a job there. So what's the deal here? Was a FISA warrant issued? And I want to ask Sally Yates the same question. You were in the Department of Justice. And I also want to know, did Susan Rice and Ben Rhodes ever ask the DNI, Mr. Clapper, or Sally Yates to unmask Americans that were part of incidental surveillance of foreign entities. I want to know, did Susan Rice and Ben Rhodes politicize intelligence?
All right, we're just about out of time, but quickly I want to ask you, you authored a letter, a bipartisan letter with Senator Whitehouse back in March asking the FBI and the DOJ for some of this information. Were there warrant applications? Were there FISA orders? Have you gotten a response?
No, and that's part of the hearing. Is he said publicly that Clapper said there was no FISA warrant issued. The Washington Post reported there was one. I want to get to the bottom of it. And what role did Susan Rice play in all this, if any? This is very important to find out.
We'll watch the hearing and let us know if you get a response to that letter. Senator,
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.